Yes, Lord! Hand, one in the bag, bubbling. One in the hand, one in the bag, bubbling.
Ghost riding in the phantom. Niggas never see me coming. She wanna hold me like a ransom.
Right after you bust, you know, right after you get something, you say, yes, Lord! Yes, Lord!
It's a pleasure to see you today on this fine, wonderful, calm, sunny, fragilistic day.
We're Jungle Beats. We review music or something like that. I'm Alexander Sandalis.
I'm the cockroach.
We're going to review an album that I've been quite looking forward to. One of the most dynamic, diverse, incredulous artists, Anderson .Paak.
Correct. Really fucked with this album, Malibu. And even before there, Venice. Like, very talented, can approach many styles with his own flavor. I don't think he can really do any wrong, but it'll be interesting to see where his approach goes with this album. Because I haven't heard the second single, but I heard Bubbling, and Bubbling's on the album. So I have no idea what this album is going to bring.
But I would like to point out that when we reviewed Bubbling, we watched the music video, and we watched the video, and he was dancing in front of a sign that said Oxnard. I would like to point out that call was correct.
Mm-hmm. You did say the album might be called Oxnard.
And here we are. Just a funny kind of little foreshadowing.
So I'm excited to go into this album and be like, are we going to get elements of previous work, or are we just going to get a whole new Paak?
Well, Dr. Dre mixed the whole thing. So
We'll get elements.
if that gives you any indication.
I'm excited, man. I love Paak.
Let's hit it, man. It's going to be a long album, but we're here for it.
I hit it almost every time and then I miss one. How we gon' get ourselves up out of this one? Hard to get up from this, listen to this. Feel in your heart there is home. If not for you, then I hold on and ride for your own.
Beautiful.
Nice opener, man. Nice opening feature by Miss Burnett.
I love how it started, but it didn't like really start, and then it kicked in. So I had like an intro for the intro.
Okay. Interesting way to put it.
A lot of beautiful live instrumentation, especially the flute that's there as well.
Which is very Anderson .Paak to do.
Paak always has amazing drums as well, because he knows percussion. And his vocals, beautiful. Bit of rapping, bit of singing.
Not much more to say, but it's just an enjoyable opener.
It's dope. Very internet-like with the bass.
You listen to that album?
Yeah.
You like it?
It's good.
Like I said, has to slow it down while they're literally slowing the song down.
You just busted up.
Oh, yeah, sure that's what he did.
Yeah, he just busted up.
Oh, you're fucking right.
He did.
Oh, head low.
Yeah, boy.
Go round, I'm almost there. Is he telling her to like keep going?
Yeah, because there's a car that was behind him.
But he crashed.
Yeah, he crashed, but he wanted to finish.
He's
So he's basically driving, getting a head job, and then he's like focusing so hard on coming that he's crashed, and then people are behind him. He's like, go round me, like I need to finish.
That is a Paaki party motherfucker. You know, there is this rhythmic percussion that almost hypnotizes you throughout that song. Anderson .Paak is very good at that.
The bass that outlined that track remind me a lot of like the internet. It's just like the dun, 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 very, very actually reminiscent of mostly their new album Hive Minds. So it's very Matty Martians who does a lot of those sort of production styles. Beautiful. Really.
This is more feel for me right now. I'm not getting much from the lyrics. It's more production heavy.
Yeah, a lot of live instrumentation on this thing. I can see why Bubbling's not on there, because Bubbling had a bit of pop appeal to it.
I thought that too.
This ain't nothing like that shit.
Right.
This
makes
more
sense.
Me. I fuck with this, Paak. I fuck with this.
Keep it coming.
Yeah, keep it coming, all right?
No, that's not what I said. I just don't want to argue about it.
Tell him.
I really want to live in an unmasked world.
Kinda cooped up, cool. I'm gonna get some fresh air. And when you got the roof out, you know never rains here. I can't be round that open street. I
Hey, Dr. Dre. Who? That's Dr. Dre.
Niggas never see me coming. She want 100 like a ransom. But the money keep me running. No, I've been in my bag anyway.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think you're ready for that type of honesty.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's so clever. That's so clever.
Can you please explain, sir?
Well, my interpretation is like, it could be two ways. She was asking for him to be honest so they can have a conversation. And it's like, these are all the other lives he has lived, whether it be in the present or in the past, as well as things he has thought of doing. So it's kind of like, you know, you girl wants to be honest with you, but you've lived a whole bunch of shit. I don't know if she's ready for that type of honesty.
So you're saying that, because I thought that throughout the video they were like different, they weren't his lives, they were different people's lives, because they were also different. And they all represented a lot of different people. Like one was a Christian, one was like, say worked like washing windows, one was
So that's what I think is supposed to represent, not just him, but like also put himself in the shoes of everybody so everyone can relate. You know, so it's all the lives he could have lived and the lives other people have lived.
But most of those lives were always with a woman and always were very sexual. So what's tints got to do with this track?
Yeah, that's the word tints.
Because tints to me is like a window tint.
Yeah, or like glasses. Something.
So, maybe, you know how like when you tint a window, you can't see through it as well?
Right.
Maybe that's what he means, like he's tinting his life. So like he's trying to put a tint on his life so you can kind of see it, but you can't get a clear picture of what it actually is.
That's really clever, because that's kind of how he brushed up. That's how his relationship seems to
He's like,
be.
I need tints. I need tints.
I'd also like to point out that the sample. Do you recognize this sample?
Also, Dr. Dre had a cameo in that video, by the way. It was pretty cool.
The sample is from Mac Miller's song "What's the Use" from Swimming.
Really?
Yeah, apparently, according to one comment.
I don't really hear it.
Well, if it's wrong, let us know.
If anything, it could be from the bass.
I feel like that track was so well executed, though.
And Kendrick's verse was great. It wasn't overdone. Like, 'cause
No.
Kendrick could have kept rapping. We would have loved it, but it was nice and short. He did his thing.
And got out.
It was great. Really good feature from Kendrick. Suited the track perfectly.
Absolutely.
They have great chemistry together. Probably my favorite track so far.
The music video is phenomenal, too.
Great music video.
So well made.
Still going to need time to decipher it and figure out what exactly the fuck he means. But so far, man does no wrong.
That's production.
On the likeness, you can proceed with caution. Same nigga my pop is. Lame niggas wanna pop shit. Get drop kick, why drop kick? Why you gotta lie to me so bad and underprepared like a seed? Promise I'ma get the promise before I decease. I never wanted to ever be over.
The production is still so creative.
Very minimalistic still.
It's still fresh and funky.
And the way they use his vocals in here, like when he goes, and just like, he just uses his voice so well on this track, and like, who are you? Like, just from the hook to the short verse to the, like you said, the way the production is so minimalistic, but still works in such a zany way.
Yes, very good. Very good point.
Another really good track, and very different to what we've heard so far, but still ties in quite well with it.
I hope she's sitting that scout. I hope she kissing the readers and blackouts. I hope her mama's El Sal. I'm in the man with the shake of it bongo. I heard you take it when that was humble. Trimming the green with the blade. I hope she kissing the readers and blackouts. I hope her mama's El Sal. I hope her papa stick around. It's hard to send me cold murder. It's easier to get it down in the meter. He was 19 with the
Nice.
Oh,
I'm glad he did that. That track needed that.
I'm gonna kill a nigga fake. We need a nigga truth, brother. Pop, pop, pop goes the shooter. smoke marijuana.
Yeah.
Pop the lock off your muzzle. Niggas is down like lost files in the shuffle. We know you like. Dear Mr. President, it's evident that you don't give a damn. Tell me something that I don't know. All this fucking evidence in the video.
Oh, bruh.
In the coke. And so I smoke. Drink just the coke. The bag is the coke.
That shit was crazy.
The switch up in the middle made the track so much more dynamic.
I agree. If it didn't switch up, I was gonna be like probably the weakest track, but it ended up being one of the strongest tracks.
And the most socially conscious, the most lyrically strongest, talking about the current state of affairs of our world and how he sees it, maneuvers through it. Powerful Anderson .Paak.
Yeah, I didn't pick up too much lyrically, but I'm feeling you, bro.
The production, it's so nuanced to me. It's minimalist, but it's nuanced so much so that I don't pick up on everything. There are things happening that I'm not musically knowledgeable enough to understand. Especially with Dr. Dre at the helm. Like,
Man, Park's just sounding really good on this. I think he's really smart with the way he's taken this approach to this album
you're
already.
impressed, man. I can see, man.
I'm impressed, bro.
It's not the words, it's how you feeling.
It's just gonna fuck up the 10. It's just
God damn it, Anderson .Paak.
gonna fuck up the list.
Savior's Road. It's weird. It's like, I don't love it as much as like a Pusha T, but I appreciate its sophistication.
This is a grower. I can already tell. The more you listen to this album, the more you get it, the more you love it.
Dive in
Same as with Malibu.
Right.
Malibu grew. So I think it was like my number 4 for 2016.
But I bet it didn't start there.
Didn't even start in the 10.
Never go fall into my knees right now. Try to 2 keys in the rental truck. Trimming flowers in the area with little cuz. Send them off to Arizona, let them build the buzz.
Ninth Wonder.
On the beat?
I'm too old to act childishly, but every now and then I pop it. Chopping up the way that don't need. Maybe I can sell it to a fiend. Right now, hey, what you mean?
Fuck with that. Short, sweet, really good fucking verses. Really sort of unorthodox the way he uses his voice at times too. Like he just sort of like spaces a bit weirdly, but it fits really well with the way that he uses his voice.
His cadence, kind of how he hits that beat.
Yeah, man.
I feel like this song is pretty cool to hear if you listen to what he's saying. It's like, called it Savior's Road. This track, from what I'm hearing in the lyrics, it's like, it's demonstrating to the listener like, hey man, 10 years ago I could have been down a whole different path. He said, 10 years been a minute. I was somewhere between giving up and doing a sentence. So okay, what could he go to jail for? I don't know about that. God, if you exist, help my mama get acquitted. Why would his mama have to get acquitted?
Is he coming from his point of view or someone else's point of view?
He says, I.
That could still be someone else's point of view.
Well, look, maybe, but
You assume it's his, yeah.
I do assume it's his, and I'd love to hear more details. It adds an area of mystery to his character. This is called Smile Teddy. You lead me to the Paak or the Paak?
I'll break up all the leaves.
I like the wordplay. It's about the mirror. It's about the mirror. Look at that face.
Funky.
Once again, keeping it engaging by switching it up in the middle and giving you 2 different sides to how he's dealing with this relationship.
That's what the track was about? I don't pay attention very well.
That's okay. That's why I'm here for you. The start of the track, what is it about my smile that makes you lie to my face? If I close my eyes to your bullshit, I can still smell it on you.
Smell. I like when people use smell for things that you can't really smell.
It makes it a much more vivid description. And then just talking about, obviously, the petty superficiality of whether him talking about someone else, he's chasing money that's too far, too small. But yeah, Just the superficialities and the dealing with the relationship. I like that.
Yeah, I'm getting back into the flow of things after a bit of a break, so I'm not too sure exactly how I feel about that track, but I was enjoying it. I don't know if I love it, but I enjoyed it.
Pocket so dirty. That be my money so sick, I might just call for 100 bricks. And pay on time to fuck up with it.
Dumbing down for this hip hop shit. Like I'm only come around for this type shit. Yeah, if I have to bust around, it's only hits pipe. Yeah, shit, how we do it?
Sounds like if Busta Rhymes had no graveliness.
Shut it down, my nigga, chill.
Is that Dr. Dre?
What?
Is that how you describe Dr. Dre?
Doesn't even sound like Dre.
It is Dre.
Back on my bullshit. I got some money to blow. I'm looking good, bitch. Giving us the king. I stay good. Back, double back. Give me that. Real rich niggas never advertise that. Broke niggas always playing rich, looking on that act. Whoa.
The energy that Paak entered that track with really elevated it and kept me enjoying this track to the level that I wanted it to. Dr. Dre's verse, that was a sleeper for me.
I thought the production was pretty sleepy for me.
You think so? You don't think it was high tempo?
It's more the
That
fact,
drum pattern?
It's more the fact this whole album, we've got very jazzy, minimalistic approaches. This was the first sort of electronic element to this album. So I thought it was a bit out of place.
That's interesting.
Like you can really tell the difference between the Dr. Dre sort of style production, whereas the other stuff's a bit more not as so much. Like, even though Dr. Dre has a hand in mastering a lot, this was the most Dr. Dre track.
Okay. Well,
It's as if like Anderson .Paak's relationship with Dr. Dre, he really wanted to do a track that was more suited for him than Paak.
well, I think Paak still executed it well.
Oh yeah, Paak still executed well. Dre's voice sounded weird. Like I said, it sounded like a light Busta Rhymes without the graveliness. Like it was so light. His voice, I'm so used to hearing it so heavy. The female vocalist, she was really dope.
Cocoa?
Yeah, Cocoa, she was cool. But all in all, this is probably the least favorite track for me.
Fair enough. I think Cocoa had like a Rihanna type of flair to her, which I enjoyed.
Yeah. I think that's fair. Yeah,
And for me, I feel like it's, I don't know, maybe I need to re-listen to the tracks, but I feel like it's built up to this point. I guess we'll see how this next track fits in.
Money came in the window way. Loyalty over everything. And my brother's keeper. If Jesus would have had a better brother, would he have to see the cross? Sleeping while I talk.
That guitar,
Laid in the arms. At the time.
that's driving this song.
I wanna live my life. I'm my brother's keeper. They still asking about the door. Applaud is finding salvation. But I'm still rhyming about the money chasing the rulo. Sumo in the safe. Cujo on the grill. Diamonds in the face. Racing in the wheel. To all my other field niggas. And they're targeted to kill niggas. No. Am I my brother's keeper? I'm dialing in a bit deeper. Is it strange?
it's pretty dope.
It's pretty dope. That's a good way to say it.
Like I said, the guitar really sort of led a lot of that track. Drums are beautiful. Pusha T feature to me was a bit weird. I don't think it really suited the production, but he did really good on it.
See, this is where I'm going to comment and say they changed the production from when he came in, though.
They changed the drums.
They slowed it down. They changed the pacing, or they changed the pacing of it to match his flow, which I thought was very intelligent.
I honestly thought Pusha, because Pusha's sort of very reminiscent flow, but you could hear in his voice that he was like, if he tried to flow any differently to that beat, he would have found it a lot more challenging.
So that means he flowed fitting to that beat.
He did, but like it just makes me think about Pusha. Like, does Pusha not know how to challenge himself on beats?
Well, the question is it a question of Pusha's decision or Paak designing the beat around Pusha? I actually think Paak called that track because of that Pusha verse, considering he's talking about his brother Malice and their relationship. But I think the tempo and pacing, you started with Paak with the heavy guitar. You went to Pusha, we got a different tone, and we finished again back at that funky soul.
Yeah, we did.
That's hard to do.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good track. I feel like other features could have done better, but you're right. Pusha's relationship with his brother is what suited this track perfectly because it's what the track's about. So, Yeah, I guess it's the best it can be.
That make me reminisce on G-Funk. 3 summers before the grind hit the streets. I would rather slang energy. Funny how time flies when you're high speed.
It'd be funny if you fell face first.
That would never happen.
Never?
Not on any alternate timeline. Long.
It's just too chorus heavy for me. It's nice. It's just not the most enjoyable track on this album.
It sounds to me the most bedroom related track on this album. This sounds like something that like you put on the bedroom.
Yeah.
You bust a nut to and be like, baby, this music making me feel like I gotta bust another.
And that's all she wrote.
Yeah, I agree. It's obviously got that West Coast sort of feel, so maybe because the album's about where he's from, it's got to represent the sound and something to do with that.
And Snoop Dogg being on there is very fitting and brought you that West Coast vibe.
But a bit too long for me. Like I said, a bit too hook heavy. I was pretty bored with that track. I mean, you look at me, I'm vibing.
I mean, smooth, but that's really it.
Sweet trippy, I'm yours for the getting. Talking foolish at the moon up. Come in right there where we are. Came down the block, something sick, but it's rented. I don't give a fuck,
J.
bitch,
Cole.
either way I'm in it. I ain't gotta prove to you that I got bread. Niggas talking money, but be broke, but somehow got disconnected before Facebook got so big. I used to search your name, hoping we could reconnect. But if I sent the message, would she still be on my dick? When I couldn't find her, had me feeling low. What do you know? Years later, late night after a show, we here later. You and I always feel. Oh, baby,
Very smooth, very sexy.
Smooth, sultry, sensual. That describes this album for me. Funky, soulful. 5 words.
Can we give a shout out to J. Cole for his amazing features this year? Black Pretty Little Fears, Buster's Tribe,
Yep. Tick.
and right here,
Yeah.
all of J. Cole's features this year.
Ah, now I know what you're saying. The best features of 2018.
What, you didn't get that question?
No, I did, but I didn't think of J. Cole.
Bro, J. Cole's KOD, amazing. I mean, I know this is Anderson .Paak's album, but I just want to... J. Cole's just been killing everything he touched this year. That was that feature woke me the fuck up. Like, I was enjoying the track, but I was in my own sort of like slumber.
Because he was so repetitive.
And then J. Cole came in, I was just like, whoop. The fuck you doing, man? What's going on?
I think, to play the devil's advocate, a lot of people going... like, people maybe like dead in hip-hop are gonna talk about that verse being corny. Like classic corny J. Cole.
But that's J. Cole, man. If you like, I like J. Cole because of that shit.
Right. It's more relatable to people like me.
Yeah, same here.
And I think his delivery and his flow does it for me.
His flow and delivery is what made him amazing to begin with from the very beginning. Like, and his hunger as well. Like, his hunger's present. It's back. Oh, bruh.
Good. Hey, all right, let's
Give me another J. Cole
let's shout out Paak for doing a bunch of great features on this album.
This is a J. Cole moment. I'm sorry, Paak.
Come on.
This is a really good song. That was a really good song.
You tell a nigga slow it down. When you living just as fast as him. I tell you understand when I see you stretch out cold on baby. Niggas catch TK. Bitch, fuck up on my way, bitch. I'm losing all my aces. I'm running out of patience. Got some pretty faces. Know what my name is. Up in high places. I got some, and I can see the world from here. I know you somewhere in the atmosphere. I know someday I'll meet you halfway. Cheers. Carry you out the bottom. The weight of the world. I got it. Spotted you on my shoulder. The greatest honor to know you. I gotta be honest with you. I hate you ain't in the picture. I hate on you. Think I'm going down. Oh, say it ain't so. Keep going down.
Oh, damn. He switched this bitch up.
I miss you. I should be with you.
Only.
Q-tip in this bitch and I'm just in here reflecting. Head on collisions with batteries in the intersection. Looking in my rear view, wishing I could be near you. Fashion breath is a blessing without a question, but niggas don't get the message until they get this disconnected. My story ain't over, I'm still turning pages. But the picture I painted with you, racing back to the bag is a motherfucker. The consequence of putting all of your chips in one bucket. To be honest,
Sounds like Terrence Martin. It is?
No, I'm just saying, like, yeah.
Sounds like it. He just has a certain sound. It's a beautiful track.
You know, just when I think his outros are getting like a bit too extended, he adds in a beautiful kind of element like a saxophone just to keep it vibrant and lush.
One thing I found bizarre, but it actually worked, is Q-Tip's verse. It was actually
Found
very...
bizarre?
What's that?
You found
Because he
bizarre.
sounds so good on the drums that were already present. Like, he obviously had a hand in production. And to me, Q-Tip sounds nearly the best when he's on those sort of drums. But he stripped the drums away all for his verse. And I was like, how are you going to strip away the instrument that I think that he sounds the best on? And yet he still sounds so good.
Trying some new things, makes you maybe want to make his vocals more prominent.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I think that what he was talking about had a huge, like a lot to do with the overall sort of meaning of not only the song but the album. So I guess he really wanted the message to be really clear. But I was just sitting there just going, man, give me that Q-Tip on the drums. But he did his thing. It was a really dope track. Really beautiful outro. Shit, is that the album?
No, not yet. But referencing, I believe Mac Miller, according to Genius, I know you somewhere in the atmosphere. I know someday I'll meet you halfway there. They say there's nothing you can do about it. Can't say that I'm Can't say that I'm new to sorrow. Wishing I could take your problems, trade them for a little more time with you. Carry you out the bottom, the weight of the world. I got it.
One thing I liked about Q-Tip's line as well was like, I know what it's like to get to the top and lose everything.
Right.
Like, he lost one of his best friends in Fife Dog, the other half of Tribe Called Quest, who died just before they finished recording their last album, which they put out.
And to echo what you're saying, rags to riches and back to rags is a motherfucker.
Yeah. So, some real heartfelt lines on this track.
So sick of sending all my flowers to all my brothers' mamas. So, but the production is quite upbeat though, and it's like layered in this kind of sorrow.
It's like a cheers to their lives, but it's also about the coping mechanisms of how you look past it, how you keep moving forward.
And remembering these people.
Exactly, like it's like a sad, happy track.
she go vegan on the weekends. Hell nah, you shouldn't be eating it. I got me a freak bitch. And she nasty, she wild, she
That's funny.
After me, she gon' let the whole team hit. Wanna go to Comic-Con, I'm like, come down a bit. I like gangsta shit. Speaking of which, she got a gangsta book.
Yeah, there you go. I was trying to figure out the whole track for what.
Oh, your bitch is flexible. You got yogi bitches now. Let's see if your bitch can dodge these bullets. Nigga, how did you what? You fucked up with a bitch. Little bitch, she about to die first. Fuck.
There's some fucking crazy ass bitches out there. I feel like that track's for them. He kind of maneuvering through all the different women and relationships and how he's dealing with them, talking about vegan bitches kind of eat dick at the start. I found that hilarious.
That's what you laughed at. Okay.
That's what I laughed at.
It was good. Loving the features on here. BJ the Chicago BJ the Chicago Kid has an amazing feature on here. He really outlays most of this track. The melodies which he creates is essentially the beat which everything's surrounded around.
You're right, so it's like an instrument. Yeah, but I heard the track. I heard the joint. I think they did. You guys heard it, right? You guys heard it, right? Oh, you didn't hear it? All right, they didn't hear it.
Okay. But yeah, BJ was beautiful on there. I loved it.
It's like Chicago soul meets West Coast Cali soul. I think it's a beautiful blend.
Yeah, it was a good track. I fuck with it.
Let's close this out, man.
Your ass smells like a cantaloupe?
No, not smells. Her ass is like a cantaloupe.
That's a bit better. What a weird way to end the album.
That's the thing. That's what I was thinking, and even the last track.
The bonus track?
The last two have been bonus tracks. But we ended on Q-Tip officially.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's a better way to end with the cheers. That's so much more fitting.
Yeah.
I'm so glad they did that instead.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
You don't even
'cause
need these extra tracks, Paak.
that was so out. That was so out of place. That track. I didn't really enjoy that.
Yeah, but okay, that's cool.
So you end on
Judging,
Cheers.
judging off the ending of Cheers, those 12 tracks, like, man, I'm gonna wrap up my thoughts here. You can see Anderson .Paak is more refined, more like sonically matured, musically matured. You know, we're getting a bit more fleshed out project. You know, Malibu was great, critically acclaimed, but I feel like this matches the standard that Malibu hit, and maybe for some people even exceeds it. It's going to need more time to maturate.
That's the thing. I think that this album's gonna need, because I think I only had like one track I didn't really like, which is the Dr. Dre one,
Yeah.
and then one other I was iffy about.
But
So,
it's moments, right? It's not like
Yeah.
whole tracks.
so for a 12-track album, I think I loved like 4 or 5 tracks, liked like another 4 or 5, and then 2 that I wasn't sure about. So I can't really make big judgments on how I'm going to compare this and what I think about this album until I need more listens. This is for sure a grower, an album that, because there is a lot of content on this album,
Absolutely.
and it feels like with Bubblin', he wanted to take a different approach, maybe a more poppy approach, but he obviously scrapped that and took an approach that was quite similar to Malibu, but even, it's kind of like he went to more his roots of where he came from in a way.
Oxnard.
There you go.
But there's still elements of what made Bubblin' popular. You hear it in these last 2 tracks, especially the more upbeat kind of
2 bonus
tempo.
tracks?
Huh?
The 2 bonus tracks?
Right. But it's not so far gone where it's out there at that same level. But overall, this was a great album, and I think it deserves its respect. I'm going to give it to it.
Yeah, I think production was amazing on this album.
Yeah.
Paak, like you said, he's becoming more refined. I think it's also his confidence as well. Like he's always been a confident person, but it sounds like he's not afraid to step into sort of different territories now, or try maybe a bit more weirder or zanier things with his vocals.
I mean, we didn't hear it. I didn't hear it too much, but it was still every now and again you got little hints of it.
Yeah, this is going to need a lot more listens. It's going to need time to grow. I'm still not really sure about my thoughts on this album yet, but I do think it sounds like a really good album. It sounds very cohesive, and he's taking his time with this one. And I think definitely the standouts to me were the tracks with Kendrick and J. Cole and BJ and Q-Tip. So it's funny, the tracks with the features were the strongest tracks to me.
But that's Paak's doing a good job at selecting features and beats that suit these people. So great job by Paak.
And then why aren't the solo tracks as good as the feature tracks?
Well, that tells us more about the artist and the album.
Guess I'll have to give this some more listens, but nonetheless, Paak, you've done an incredible job on this album.
To challenge you, Paak, I would like to see an album for 2020 where you can stand on your own, no features. Fuck it. I want to see what you can do. Let's challenge yourself.
I want to see you. I actually wouldn't have minded to hear an album with a lot of bubblins on there. I kind of like that style.
Oh, come on, son.
I kinda like
Give it to me.
I kind of like him taking a pop approach to his music. Maybe he's afraid to take a pop approach because if people think he'll sell out or something. Or maybe if that gets really popular, then he'll feel like he'll have to continue that sound because we'll get more
He
popular.
did it though, and look how popular it was. It was crazy.
Yeah, but maybe he's afraid of getting a lot of fans that like that sound, expect that sound.
Paak, DM us. Answer the question. Come on, son.
Yeah, good job, man. Try to get tickets to your concert in Australia. Sold out instantly, and the only tickets I can get are $500. So do me a favor and
DM us.
hey, just give me some cheaper tickets, bro. I'll pay for that shit. Just I don't want to pay $500 for a seat.
Fair enough.
I want to stand in the crowd.
Jungle Beats peeps, let us know what you got of this album, where it sits for you on the Paak discography.
Yeah, man, it's a weird one to sort of rate off first listen, man.
See you later.
So it's hard to fucking put that into a box and another box and lick mine up with peanut butter.